Alright, boys and girls, so what we're going to get started on today is something a little bit different, and I wanted us to have a little bit more fun with this project. So we're going to make superhero self-portraits, and I know right now it seems like we could definitely use some superheroes, so I figured why not turn ourselves into some and do something like a little bit different and fun. Now, for this piece, we are just starting our drawing portion for today. Later on, next week, we will do the coloring portion and putting our pieces together and gluing them and creating a background and different things like that all next week. But for today, we're just going to focus on drawing. We're not going to color yet, so if you color, that is completely up to you, but I won't be coloring until next week with you. So you can choose today if you'd like to do that or wait for next week. Oh, something that I did include for you is actually these fun little superhero drawing coloring pages that might give you some inspiration for your piece for today, kind of designing your own superhero. If you were to be a superhero, what would your superpower be? I know that you guys are so good at so many things, and I want you to embrace that. If you were to be a superhero, what would your power be and why? And what would your costume look like? So that little coloring page definitely might help you plan and give you some inspiration before you actually start decorating your character today. So I'm actually going to show you a few different things on my paper. On my paper, I'm going to start sketching my eyes right now for my little character. And I'm going to find a space that's not quite in the middle, but not quite all the way up at the top. So I'm staying closer to the middle than I am at the top of the paper, because remember, we still want to add our hair and our head and our mask to the top a little bit. And then we need to add a body to the bottom. So if you are a little bit too high, please try to readjust and try to draw your eyes somewhere in the center of the paper. And right now I'm just drawing two circles, and I am making my eyes look pretty cartoony, so they do not look very realistic, but I am still going to draw the pupil and the highlight in my eye. So everyone's eyes are wet, so naturally if something's wet, it has kind of like a shiny highlight on it, so like a little white line or dot in the eyes. So next I am moving on to my masks. And again, before we get to that, if you don't want to draw your eyes like this, you don't have to. I know a lot of you have your own style of eyes that you'd like to draw your eyes like that, so go ahead and draw your style, that's fine. But what I'm giving you right now is just a few examples of different kinds of masks that you could possibly do. I'm speeding through this pretty fast, but if you need to pause at any point because you want to copy one of these examples, you totally can do that as well. But I will go back and draw this a little bit slower in a second. This is just to give you some examples of different types of masks that you could do. Okay, so going back to my eyes that I've drawn previously, now I'm going to go ahead and start drawing out my mask. And I want my mask to be just slightly right in between both eyes. And I usually draw like a little space where my nose will go in the inside there. So that little blank empty space that kind of goes up between the eyes is where my nose will go at some point. So I'm drawing two little bumps going down. And of course I messed up a little bit, so I'm going to erase, which is why we're using pencil. But drawing as evenly as I can on both sides. Now I'm going to draw the top of mine, and I'm going to do mine that look kind of like, I guess, little points at the end, kind of like some fancy, like cat sunglasses type things. I'm bringing points to the end of my mask on both sides. So bringing a point up and bringing another point up to the left-hand side. And I know I'm drawing pretty fast. Again, if you need to stop or if you have your own examples of what you would like to draw, that's fine as well. I'll also provide some other examples in your Google document agenda if you need some help drawing some other masks later. So now's a good time to stop and draw some details if you'd like. If you want to do eyelashes or eyebrows, depending on where your mask is located. My mask, I don't think I'm going to draw eyebrows on mine, but you could if you wanted to later on. But what I am going to focus on is the shape of my chin. So I need to draw my little chin, And it's going to be kind of like a big U shape. And I know you guys are pros at drawing self-portraits right now because we've done them a few times. So you remember that this is just kind of like a big capital U shape going down from one side of the mask and curving down over. Now it's not too high up because we still need to add a mouth and a nose, and it's not too low because we need to make sure that it's not like a really massive face or something that's really strange and big, because we still need to add a neck later on. So it's just the right amount. And if you need to draw with your finger a few times or sketch out with your pencil a few times and erase, that's fine until you find the right kind of proportion or the right kind of size and shape that you want to draw your chin. And I actually decided that I'm going to draw two different kinds of superheroes for you. So I'm going to do one that's a girl and one that's a boy, just to kind of give you some examples of different styles of masks and hair and different things like that. So I'm actually going to redraw my eyes and a different kind of mask on this piece of paper. So I'm going to speed up just a little bit. If you need to pause or go back, you can. But I just don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to speed up this drawing just a tiny bit until we get to the details. So now we have a kind of Batman looking like mask, and I also gave him some eyebrows because I thought that'd be funny. And I'm going to go back in and just redraw my chin again. This time I'm actually just going to put a little line right here, just in case drawing that big U shape is difficult. I'm going to just mark where I want the end of my chin to go, and then use connecting lines from the side of my mask to go down and connect to that little mark that I made where I wanted my chin to end. So if this helps you, if this is a little bit easier, try this kind of technique rather than the other one. But now that gives me two types of superheroes to start off with. Now, because my girl character was looking up to the right, I drew her nose going off to the right. And now because my boy character is looking to the left, I'm drawing his nose going towards the left. Kind of like they're looking in two different directions right now. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a mouth. And remember, we went over different kinds of noses and mouths in our first self-portrait video. So if you need to go back and look at that video, you can. But I'm going to do my female or my girl character with her mouth open and she's smiling, and she's also missing a tooth because I think some of us are still missing some teeth. So I thought that'd be a fun little detail. And then the boy character, I'm actually going to make him look a little bit more serious. So maybe he's a little bit more ready to fight in saving the world or something like that. So next, as you can see, I went ahead and I drew the forehead of my girl character, and now I'm drawing some ears. I didn't draw the forehead for my boy character because his head is actually covered by the mask, so most of his hair is actually going to be covered up. But my girl character, on the other hand, her hair is not covered up, so I'm going to end up drawing her hair in a second. But I am going to make the boy character's hair a little bit longer. I think it'd be interesting to have him have some long hair. So I'm going to add that kind of popping out the back of his mask. And for my girl character, I am going to draw a kind of like a tiara or a headband. And I think I'm going to give her a unicorn horn because maybe she's like a unicorn girl or something like that kind of superhero. So I'm just having fun with my details. Again, you can draw it however you'd like to. If you want to give her a crown or cat ears or bunny ears or whatever, anything like that is completely fine as well. Please make this your own original piece, but if you want to do a unicorn horn, you can as well. So moving on to her hair, I am adding some little bumps around her head, going down around her shoulders, down this way, giving her long wavy hair. I also added some bangs on her forehead too. Again, it also depends on if you have these details, like if you have long hair, maybe you have shorter hair, you can draw it like that. It's completely up to you. Next, just giving my characters some nice long shoulders, going all the way down my paper, giving them a pretty thick neck because our heads are heavy, so we need a pretty thick neck to be able to hold up our heads. And other than that, that's actually pretty much the majority of drawing our superhero characters. Now I am going to go in and add some details later on. If you'd like to add more details, you can. Please feel free to. But until next week, this is where I'm going to end the video. And we'll continue coloring and adding a background next time. So again, if this was too fast, you can always go back and pause in certain areas, kind of slow it down for yourselves if necessary, if you need to. But you guys are amazing, so I think you can handle this no problem. I hope you have fun.